Hey everyone, Bryan Zane here with my Survivor Series 2018 review. I'm reporting to you from in-laws house. I'll work wherever I can. What an interesting show we had Sunday night at the Staples Center in Los Angeles. I do want to briefly mention about NXT TakeOver the night before in the same building. Very good show from top to bottom, just solid quality action. The opening match, the little kind of throwaway match with Matt Riddle and Cassius Ohno was interesting. I think they just threw that in there to kind of just to remind people that Matt Riddle is there and kind of continue the story between he and Ohno. But for it to end in such quick fashion, I thought was interesting. It was a pop for the sake of a pop, just kind of a fun way to kick off the match, because those other matches they had so much heat to them. It's like, oh man, we can't open with a match. There's got to build. We got to get people pumped up for, Baszler Sane, for example. Like I said, it was a very exciting show, very satisfying to watch. So would Survivor Series on Sunday match the level of hype that TakeOver got? Time will tell. Let's begin with the pre-show match, the tag team Survivor Series match. On Raw, your team captains are Ruble, and they are joined by the B Team, the Ascension, the Revival, and the Lucha Botch Party. The Lucha House Party. Then on the SmackDown side, you have the Usos leading the New Day, Sanity, the Good Brothers, and the Cologne, so I'm still surprised they're still with the company at this point. The real meat of this match took place in the latter half of it when a lot of those earlier tag teams are taken out. Got Gable showing off some more of his stupid strength and being able to deadlift German Big E. I love the part where Rude kind of like gently cradles his head as he goes down for the neckbreaker portion of that double team move. And Gable with the German to, I think it was Jimmy Uso, from the top rope to the outside, onto everyone on the outside. Holy crap, how is this the pre-show match? Like, that action right there, I think, beats anything that's worthy. It's definitely beyond worthy of its spot. It belongs in a better state than where it was. The final two teams were the Usos and the Revival, and that action was what you would kind of expect. For the first time we've seen these two teams face off, I think it was very good stuff. A lot of crazy near falls and stuff. The Usos win for Team SmackDown after Jimmy hits the splash onto Dash with the little Roman Reigns tribute on his way down. I'm going to give the match 2.5 stars out of 4. It started off really flat, and then it got really interesting by the end and really showed you what the tag divisions across both shows can really do and really accomplish. I think what you saw there was like the bright, shiny beacons of Raw and SmackDown's respective tag division. Good way to open the show, but much like WWE, I'm not going to count it toward my final score because it's pre-show. The show officially opens up with the Women's Survivor Series matchup. On Team SmackDown, you've got the new Captain Naomi leading Asuka, Carmella, Sonya Deville, and Mandy Rose, who's filling in for Charlotte. And then on Raw's side, you've got Nia Jax, Tamina, Mickie James, Sasha Banks, and Bayley, who are filling in for Ruby Riott and Natalya. What did I say was going to happen? That those two, that Ruby and Natalya being in the match together, didn't make any damn sense. Made Alexa look foolish for picking them in the first place. It blows up and completely backfires in the pre-show, and so Sasha and Bayley, who were beat up by all the heels on Raw on the go home after wrestling this intense matchup to qualify for that last spot, are in their place. There are no words to how stupid that whole thing. Why? What? Nia Jax gets the biggest boos we are going to hear all night. Good Lord, I thought Roman Reigns' pre-leukemia announcement was back here performing tonight, because everything she did when she got into the ring, when she walked into the shot, into frame, she got the biggest boos of the entire night. And, credit where it's due. They are playing up on this. They're not trying to brush this under the rug. Nia is, she's already heel to begin with, so at least it's not one of those awkward things where she's supposed to be a babyface. She's playing the heel. She's, showing the fist. She's, brushing it off and everything. They're playing it up. It's hashtag facebreaker. They're turning this into heat for Nia, and no matter what your opinion is on her, and I've said before, she needs work. She's not perfect. At least they're capitalizing on this, and I'll get to why that's important in a minute. Bayley and Sonya are eliminated at the same time due to a double countout, leaving Sasha and Nia on the Raw side and Asuka on the SmackDown side. So would Asuka be able to pull a 2 years in a row being the sole survivor? No, because first off, Nia would screw over her own partner Sasha, and then she got eliminated. Then Nia swoops in, beats up Asuka a lot, hits her with Samoan drop, and wins. What a remarkable troll move by WWE to have that finish there with this woman who has all this heat on her, and so many people speculated on, oh, she's gonna be the first one eliminated in the Survivor Series match. Nope, she won the whole thing. How about that? I'm gonna give this match 2 stars out of 4. I think it was an okay match. Everyone got their chance to shine and get their stuff in. What bogged it down for me was the fact that, especially near the tail end, the last third of this matchup, things got slowed down to the point of monotony and just kind of boredom. It's good not to rush things in a wrestling match, but this was the antithesis of that, to the point where they were slow to the point of hurting things and kind of killing their momentum. I think the finish was kind of brilliant. I know people are going to disagree and say, well, they're rewarding Nia for hurting Becky Lynch. And I get that. I get why people are upset about that. But I think it's smart because they're capitalizing on this moment that they have here. Like, the fact that Becky Lynch is now like the biggest babyface in the company kind of fell into their laps. And I don't think they're going to squander that. What you have here is this thing, yeah, Nia screwed up. And I think she did a bad thing. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. Don't you want to see Becky get her revenge on Nia Jax when she's healthy? Don't you want to see Nia Jax get what's coming to her? How cathartic is it going to be if they downplay the stuff with Nia and they don't mention it at all and they have her job out over and over again to the point where when Becky finally does get her match with her and she wins, like, okay, well, who'd she beat? So if Nia is presented in this way where she's playing up the fact she hurt Becky Lynch, for reals or whatever, and put her on the shelf, fans are going to respond to that, and they're going to hate Nia Jax so much to the point where when Becky does come back, people are going to lose their shit when Becky Lynch beats Nia Jax. They'd be stupid not to capitalize on this moment. It's going to be a big deal when Becky beats Nia. The company, wrestling in general, has often used real-life injuries to play into feuds and storylines, for the most part, successfully, and I think this is going to be another case of that. So, yeah, I still think that Nia needs to play it safe and hopefully not hurt anybody on the way to that match, but I think that what they're doing here is smart. Up next, the U.S. champion Shinsuke Nakamura takes on the Intercontinental champion Seth Rollins. Clearly, Shinsuke pressed right C on his control pad when he was doing character select to get those nice blue pants. The big story in this matchup wasn't the match itself, but was the fact the internet started noticing, hey, is that Enzo Amore sitting like in the second row behind the long-haired fan that you always see on the hard cam side, sitting there with this big goofy wig on his head, like trying to look incognito, yet everyone knows what Enzo Amore looks like? Yes, that was Enzo, and yeah, what a week he's had. First he got kicked off a plane for vaping, and now he shows up here. He tries to crash the show. He apparently there's a video of this. He's trying to start a how you doing chant or whatever. He gets kicked out. What a moron. It's a really entertaining match between these two. They didn't have to work hard to do it, but the match itself clearly exceeded the hype and build that the match was given in the weeks leading up to it. As Seth Rollins said, he didn't give a damn about Shinsuke Nakamura, but he gave a damn here, and it showed here in the matchup. At one point, Seth kicks out of a Kinshasa out of the back of the head. Really cool ending sequence where Seth wins with the stomp, and yeah, he goes on to win, and they announced later the night that he and Dean Ambrose will face off in 4 weeks at TLC for the title. I was kind of surprised Dean didn't take part in any of this matchup. He wasn't involved in the finish, didn't do a post-match beatdown or anything. It was just a straight-up match between Seth and Seth and Shinsuke, I should say, and it was good. It was all good for me. I'm going to give it 3 stars. Like I said, very good match. Clearly beat the hype that it was given. I hope to see more between these two in the future. This is just a taste of what they can give us. I'm very excited for what the future may hold between these two. After a funny backstage bit where Braun Strowman uses Lio Rush to make contact with Baron Corbin, and then R-Truth comes in to try and play Peacekeeper, even though he's not part of Raw, we get the Bar versus the AOP, Tag Champs versus Tag Champs. This match was probably the weakest of the show. It was still a decent, serviceable match. Just, 4 guys doing power moves, essentially. That was pretty much it. But the big story here is at the end when Drake Maverick gets involved, and, they chase him around. He gets caught by the Big Show, and then Drake Maverick pisses himself. Attitude Era's back, baby. We have people urinating themselves on camera. In the distraction, Akam and Razor hit Sheamus with a double powerbomb or a powerbomb neckbreaker combo to win the match, and Raw is on top once again. I'm going to give this one 1.5 stars. It was better than I expected it to be. Still kind of awkward heel versus heel dynamic. Makes it kind of hard to really get into a second or third gear with this one. Man, we've had Nia playing the uber heel. We have Enzo making an ass out of himself. We've got Drake Maverick pissing himself. What a time to be alive. Cruiserweight Championship on the line as Buddy Murphy defends against Mustafa Ali, flippy is he. This is not your standard, a flippy Cruiserweight match. It's very, strike-based, what we see here. In fact, Mustafa does most of his, hang time, most of his flying in the midst of selling moves for Buddy. At one point, actually, Buddy does a great planche out of the outside. Very beautiful move by Buddy here. At one point, Buddy clears off the announce table, and Mustafa catches him, hits him a Spanish fly to the outside, or onto the floor off the table, which is impressive. Buddy retains the title after hitting Mustafa with a pump handle driver. I'm going to give this one 2.5 stars. It was a hard-hitting match with lots of exciting moments, but the one thing that knocked it down for me was never once in this entire match did I think that Mustafa had a chance against Buddy. I think, the best matches are the ones where you think that, one man, either man could conceivably win, but it never felt like that to me. It was like, I would say 85-15 Buddy, and, Mustafa had a couple of moments of brilliance, moments to shine, but he never really got into a second gear as far as like really putting Buddy, having him, walk back or anything like that. It was like pretty much Buddy the entire way. I wanted the match to be more competitive, but it just was not. Up next, it's the Men's Survivor Series matchup. On Raw's team, you've got Braun and former friends, Finn Balor and Bobby Lashley taking on Team SmackDown. That's The Miz as the captain, Shane McMahon, Rey Mysterio, Jeff Hardy, and Samoa Joe, who is eliminated immediately by a Claymore kick by Drew McIntyre. From there, it goes a very long time before we get any more eliminations. Braun is taken out a few minutes after Joe's elimination when everyone gangs up on him. Shane does the diving elbow through an announce table. I feel like we've seen that spot before, but it's equally effective. Braun's out for a long time. Mysterio eliminates Balor after dropping the dime. Shane hits Dolph with the coast to coast and eliminates him. Shades of Crown Jewel. Ooh, the best in the world strikes again. Literally less than a couple of minutes after that happens, Miz is wrestling Lashley. Lashley's in the ropes. Miz tags in a clearly out of it Shane and tells him to do the coast to coast again. And Shane's like, okay, I'll do it. He gets up there. He gets intercepted in midair by a Braun clothesline. Shane's not out just yet. Braun does eliminate Jeff, Mysterio, and the Miz in quick succession. Then he eliminates Shane. So Raw wins with 3 people left. It's Braun, Drew, and Bobby Lashley. I'm going to give the match 2.5 stars. It was very close to 3, but ultimately I give it 2.5. There was some fun moments in the match, some head scratchers as well. I think that the big story here is that, as clear as they want to put the rocket on Drew McIntyre, they still at the end of the day want to, invest a lot in Braun Strowman, which is why even though Drew looked impressive at the beginning with the Claymore to Joe right away, Braun still put the other 4 dudes away in quick succession at the end. So like at the end of the 3 guys that are left in the ring on Raw's team, Braun is clear A number 1, and then you've got Drew kind of a distant second, and Bobby's just kind of like an afterthought basically. But they kind of made them both look good in their own ways, but Braun was clearly the dominant one. I'm curious to see where they're going to go with this storytelling on SmackDown side, because not only did they get crushed, but also Miz basically sold Shane out by tagging him in to do the coast to coast again. So I'm curious how that's going to play into the programming. In a match that was thrown together at the last minute, which is days to prepare after Becky Lynch's injury, you've got Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. This match is just super aggressive from the get-go. The entire time, these two look like they're beating the piss out of each other. And they have all their counters saved up too. They're all hitting R2 at the right times. They're able to counter out a lot of stuff. It was very fluid. It looked very good. It was so fun to watch this matchup. They were just like on they were on a different level from the very beginning and just going constantly at each other. It was a match that didn't need to be built up from small to big. It was just like from the get-go right away. It was awesome. My favorite part's when Ronda goes, "Come on, that's," and then she turns around, eats a spear, and she kicks out. But then at one point, Ronda's chasing Charlotte out of the ring. Charlotte snaps, hits her with a kendo stick. The match ends in a disqualification, so Raw wins by DQ. The streak continues, but Charlotte's not done. She snaps. She just beats the fuck out of Ronda with a kendo stick, breaks one kendo stick, hits her with another one. She brings a chair into the ring, hits Ronda with a natural selection. She beats up some referees. She takes the chair, wraps it around Ronda's neck after some awkward initial attempts to place it there. Then she stomps on the chair. Ronda sells her neck big time. Charlotte finally walks away. So how does the audience respond to this, what is clearly a very aggressive heel turn, with chants of "Thank you, Charlotte"? Man, except for Nia Jax, the company's had a real string of bad luck booking female heel turns. What's going on? It's not like going into the matchup, people were, booing Ronda and cheering Charlotte. Before this, people hated Charlotte. People were booing her because she wasn't Becky Lynch. And now, she's doing this, was clearly a heel turn here, and the fans are loving it. From the very beginning, she's beating the hell out of Ronda, who did nothing wrong, and, and the crowd is just totally into it. It's so weird. I can't understand or explain why that's the case. But there you go. I'm going to give this one 3.5 stars out of 4. I mean, just the match itself, I thought was awesome. It was a breath of fresh air. Like I said, when Ronda's with the right people, the match can be incredible, and we didn't get Becky versus Ronda here, but we can say that for later. We got Becky and Charlotte, or actually Ronda and Charlotte, and it was really good. I didn't expect a bad match, but I didn't expect that for it to be as good as it was. And then the beatdown at the end just added so much to the tension and the hype. Like, what's the deal here? How are they going to explain this on Monday and Tuesday? My guess, Charlotte's going to say, she did it for Becky. She did it for the people. Main event time, WWE Champion Daniel Bryan versus Universal Champion Brock Lesnar. Oh my God, this match. This was something to behold. It starts off with Daniel getting in Brock's face, kind of taunting him, like, as Brock's making his entrance. Like, what's Daniel doing? What's his strategy here? He tries to kind of like, bob and weave, stick and move for the first couple minutes of the match. He gets caught, and Brock just suplexes the bejesus out of him, and it looks really scary. Like, Daniel's not selling. He's just like dead. He's like, ooh, like that, and he gets dragged from corner to corner as Brock keeps beating him up. At one point, he says, "Good night, everybody," to the hard cam. F5. He pins him, but he picks him up because he wants to do more damage. Then he goes for another F5, but he clocks the referee with Daniel's legs. Daniel sees the opportunity. Big old dick kick city by Daniel Bryan. Knee plus. The crowd is awake now. They were in stunned silence, and they explode when Daniel almost wins it. And then it gets competitive. Then it gets interesting, because then Daniel's got an answer for everything Brock is doing for the next couple of minutes. It gets competitive with Brock finally fighting back. We get another knee plus, another kick out. Brock goes for another F5, but he can't do it because of the knee. Daniel catches him in the yes lock. Brock tries to fight out of it a couple of times, and you really think that he's got Brock on the ropes here. Then finally Brock picks him up, hits him with the F5, and he beats Daniel Bryan. It is a complete and utter sweep of SmackDown if you don't count the pre-show, which they don't apparently. But man, even with that being said, holy crap, what a match this was. I'm going to give it 4 stars. It's the match of the night, obviously. I think, it started out as a Lesnar special. People were hating on it. I was looking at the tweets as the match was going before things hit a turn, and it was so negative, and then like everything changed when the Dick Kick City happened, and we see this other level of Daniel Bryan. Like, even in defeat, he looked stronger in that match than I've seen him all year in his comeback. It was like the best match we've seen from Daniel Bryan. His stuff with AJ Styles notwithstanding. It was a totally different story they told here, and I think people keep forgetting. When Lesnar is with the right worker, and when he wants to, the match can be super entertaining. We saw it last year at Survivor Series, AJ Styles, and we see it here again with someone else who's kind of on that level in Daniel Bryan, and it tells a really good story. Like, I was worried. I was one of the many people who was concerned that this is not going to be a good look for Daniel Bryan, and I think they played into that at the beginning when he was dead for so long, saw all those suplexes, but then it just turns this other gear, and oh my God, it's one of those things where it's like everyone's going nuts. You think it's going to happen. Like, there was a couple of close calls there where oh my God, you think he's actually going to pull it off, but ultimately, Brock wins because Brock is Brock, and they're trying to build him up for his eventual return to the UFC, I think at least. But even in defeat, Bryan looked amazing. Brock sold his ass off for Daniel Bryan. This was a great match, and I think it was a really, really strong way to end the show. My final grade for Survivor Series 2018 is going to be a B- grade. I think that, most of the matches that we saw were decent. There wasn't really a bad match on the card. Bar versus AOP was probably like the match that was like, nothing blew me away about that match. It was certainly interesting, the finish with Great Maverick pissing his pants, but everything else was like, good to great. Nothing was really, no ugly matches to be said about this whole show. The 3 matches that stood out to me the most were Seth versus Shinsuke, and then Ronda versus Charlotte, and of course, Daniel versus Brock. The one negative I think you could find with this show is the complete lack of tension. The fact that Raw totally dominated SmackDown. That's not very satisfying to see a sweep like that, no matter what side you're on. It's just, there's no tension there. You always want to see like, the tiebreaker. You always want to see Game 7, but it doesn't always end that way. Realistically, in sports, you'll have a series and it could be a total sweep. Or it could be totally one-sided. That's just how it works sometimes. I think wrestling has conditioned us to believe that, if it's a 2 out of 3 falls match, it's always got to go third fall. If it's going to be like a best of 7 series, goes to match 7. It is kind of disappointing on that level because there was like a lack of tension with that because it was so one-sided. But I would reserve judgment on that because it's definitely going to play a role. It's going to have a huge effect and impact on the storytelling for Raw and SmackDown in the months to come leading into Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. So I would not, automatically dismiss this as, oh, Vince McMahon is just, he's just showing that Raw is the A show, even though SmackDown's obviously better and this and that. I wouldn't dismiss it as that right away. I mean, on one level, that you could interpret it that way. But also, I think that to have this complete domination really is going to tell the story for SmackDown, like I said, in the weeks to months to come. And Raw, we'll see where Raw goes with this. How is Baron Corbin's job affected by this? How's Alexa Bliss going to, as the captain of the Raw women's team, whatever. There's a lot to unpack with what we've got going on here. And I think that if people can look beyond the superficial of, oh, Vince loves Raw more than SmackDown, I think that it's going to be an interesting storytelling piece. And like I said, overall, if you don't consider the Raw versus SmackDown mentality, you just look at the quality of the matches and the stories that are being told, I think this was an above average pay-per-view, especially that last hour. Some amazing stuff in the last hour, especially, again, Bryan and Brock, which really elevated the grade for me. Let me know what you thought about Survivor Series in the comments section below and give it a letter grade in the gimmick in the upper right hand corner of your screen. Be sure to thumbs up this video if you like it, subscribe to Wrestling with Regret, buy the t-shirts at ProWrestlingTees.com, and check out Patreon.com/WrestlingWithRegret for exclusive perks and bonus content. Reporting from my in-laws' house, I'm Bryan Zane, and I'll see you next time.